Welcome to How You Pictured It, the podcast for creative entrepreneurs ready to grow their business in a way that feels good. Here you'll find actionable tips and tools to create the business and life you pictured. I'm your host, Kate Hyde with Dear Kate Brand Strategy. Let's get started. Today we're going to talk about setting up your schedule and making sure that you build in time for everything that's really important to you so that when you're booking sessions, you are prioritizing what needs to be prioritized and making sure that you have time to create the experience that you want for your clients and to create the life that you want for yourself. I want to talk about first a story that you've probably heard before, but I'm going to share it again anyways. It is the story of a professor who walks into his class with a mason jar, a bag of rocks, a bag of pebbles, and a bag of sand. And he puts the mason jar on the counter and he says, okay, fills it with the rocks. He says to his students, is the jar full? And they say yes. And then he pours in the pebbles, and the pebbles filter in between all of the big rocks. And then he asks his students, is the jar full? And they say yes. And then he pours in the sand, and the sand is able to filter between all of the big rocks and the pebbles and go into the jar also. And he asks his students, is the jar full? And they say yes again. This jar represents kind of what your life is and your priorities and obligations and tasks and things like that, and how we can work to get the jar full. So it's about filling that jar and filling your life and balancing your life so that you can reach that vision of what you want your life to be. If you put those small little tasks in the jar first, the sand first, you're going to fill up the jar a lot faster, and those big rocks and those pebbles aren't going to be able to fit into the jar. So let's talk about how I use that story to kind of plan my year. I personally believe in mapping out my full year from the beginning of the year just as a kind of a roadmap and a guide of what to do. Having that kind of bare outline of everything that I'm planning for the year really helps me to know where I'm going, and it helps me to see that big picture vision of what I really want my life to look like and what I want my photography business to look like. What I do at the beginning of every year is get a really large calendar, and I'm talking wall size 24 by 36 that has every month on it so that I can see the big picture all at once. And I start by putting my non-negotiables on the calendar. What are non-negotiables? For me, my vision of my life is that I want to be the person that's there for my kids, to meet them after the school bus drops them off, for getting ready in the morning, for soccer games, all of those things. I want to spend most of my time with my family. I want my business to grow, but I don't want it to come at the cost of watching my kids grow. My non-negotiables are first, birthdays. I make sure that I put their birthdays on the calendar. I put holidays on the calendar. I go through and get the school calendar and mark any days off of school so that I'm able to be home with my kids for those. I look at vacation dates that we might take. I plan for camping trips. I plan around days my husband will be off of work. I make sure all of those big, important family time dates are on the calendar before anything else. So then when it comes time to start putting other things on the calendar, I know that I'm not going to accidentally book a session on the weekend that I should be holding my kid's birthday party or whatever it may be. And I'm also making sure that I'm not working the time that we would be able to take a vacation, because those things are really important to me, and I want to make sure that I prioritize those big rocks. Those are my big rocks, is making sure that I have that family time. And it can come down to something as simple too as, for us, it's soccer practices and soccer games. Those are on my calendar. Family movie night. We do movie nights on Fridays. I want to make sure that I'm not taking sessions on Friday nights because that's our family time. And prioritizing that really helps me keep that vision of what I want my life to look like in place. So the next thing that I'm going to do on my calendar is put in my pebbles, which are my main work activities, the ones that pull me away from the family that require scheduling. And so for me, I mostly start with my mini session plans for the year, or limited edition session plans for the year, where I have some events every year that clients are looking to book, and I know I'm going to be booking multiple clients for a certain type of session or session date. So I do motherhood sessions in May. I do glitter mini sessions usually in February if I'm doing them that year. I put holiday sessions on the calendar. I put family mini sessions on the calendar for the fall, sunflower sessions. All of those little things, I try to map out the dates of when I want to do those. And that helps me to see how many days I have available for those sessions, how many days I have available for full sessions as well. And it gives me a good idea of what my income is going to be for the year. I can kind of guesstimate how much I'm going to make from those types of sessions, from the mini sessions, the limited edition sessions, and then work backwards to know how many full sessions I want to book to get to the income that I want to make for the year. Once I know how many full sessions I need, I will mark off on my calendar slots for each of those. I don't put those as a date, obviously, but I put next to the month how many of each type of session that I want. And by putting like a slot there, it makes it easier for me to know how to market and how to fill those. So now we've got our pebbles in. The next thing is going to be the sand. And for me, the sand is going to be marketing activities. I only need as much sand and marketing activities as necessary to fill those spots. So having those goals in mind makes it so much easier for me to work backwards and fill my calendar to get to the point where I, again, am kind of living for that vision of my life, working towards that. So once I've got the mini session dates and those things, I can work backwards and know that I have to have the set done by a certain day. If it's a styled session, I have to post the booking link a certain day. I have to have an email ready. I have to have social media posts ready. So by marking down those exact dates, and again, it can be flexible. Like I know that some of these things are going to change, especially like sunflower sessions. It kind of depends on when things bloom and how the weather is. As photographers, we know we have to be flexible with these things, right? So working backwards from those dates, I can figure out all of the little parts and pieces that I need to do to get those sessions booked. And that helps me hone in on my calendar, and really getting that big picture view helps me to know exactly where I'm going for the year. Having that roadmap and that plan makes it so much easier to market and to find the clients that you want. So let's recap that for you. The first thing you're going to do is put your priority items, your non-negotiables on the calendar. Second, you're going to put in the event type dates that you're going to be booking for the year, mini sessions, limited edition sessions, any kind of big promotional thing you want to do, put that on the calendar. Third, you're going to put in how many of each other type of session that you need so that you can work backwards and find the proper balance to how many sessions you need to make the income that you want. So you're not overworking yourself to that point of burnout, thinking you need more and more. And then fourth, you're going to work backwards from those dates and determine when you need marketing items, what marketing materials you need, and fill out the rest of your calendar like that. I find that this really does help me, and I hope it helps you too. If you found this episode valuable, I would love for you to leave a review or share with a friend. You can post a screenshot from Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you're listening, and share it to your stories and tag me at Dear Kate Brand Strategy. I'd love to know what you think. Looking forward to talking to you on the next episode.